Hi guys, and before you watch the next video, I just wanted to mention a new thing that we've got on AJ, the Player channel, the YouTube channel. So in answer to a lot of your comments, we need to invest in some new equipment and we need to get to some new places to bring you some even better content. And I thought, what better way of doing that than opening up a Patreon account or Patreon account from where you are in the world. If you would like to donate and help us to get bigger and better and bring you better quality videos, then just go to the home page on AJ the Player, the YouTube page. If you're on a PC, it's very simple. I've already put the link up and you can either donate a single amount. I'm not worried even if it's a single pound, it doesn't matter, it's all gonna help. Or you can donate a regular amount as well. If you're on a phone or a tablet, it's slightly different. You have to just scroll across until you come to the About section. And that there will have the two links. It's got a PayPal link and the Patreon link. Guys, thanks for your support. We're doing our best to bring you the best quality videos possible. Enjoy the next video. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of The Player on AJ the Player YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me today, and you join me in a fantastic little car. This is called the Ford Puma. Let's have a look around it, see what we think. Right, now we've arrived. Let's take a good look around the car. Let's have a good look inside and let's get under the bonnet. Start first, round at the front. I'm not a big lover of blue cars, but I particularly do like the blue on this car. It's quite striking. In actual fact, I ended up dressing up like little boy blue so I didn't clash too much with it. This is the Ford Puma, and it's nothing like the old Ford Puma. And if you're as old as me, you'll remember that car. I actually really like the old Ford Puma. Its looks, not necessarily the actual the car itself, but it looked really sexy. And I've got to say, this car is pretty good looking as well. And considering that it's directly aimed at the competition, the Nissan Juke, for example, and the Volkswagen T-Roc. If you want to see either of those reviews that we've done, Nissan Juke, click up here now, and that was quite an impressive little car. And the Volkswagen T-Roc, click up there now and you can watch that one as well. Again, a very impressive little car. So much so, a lot of people commented that I was actually being paid by Volkswagen. I was so impressed with it, which obviously wasn't true. I try and give everybody a fair review. Anyway, we're here to talk about this Ford Puma. And I'm actually quite impressed with it, with the looks immediately. Price-wise, £21,600 for the entry level. And that's within a few £100s of those other two cars that I just mentioned. It sounds like we've got all sorts kicking off here. There's a load of horses in the background. I'll just keep going, don't worry about it. But you get more bang for your buck with this car. For some reason, Ford have thought, you know what? We've got to make an impression because people are obviously now shopping around for their cars. Back in the days, Ford had the market. When I was a kid, it was like you had a Cortina or an Escort, and they were like the main cars, or a Capri. Whereas now there's so much choice. So Ford have had to come in with a lot of extra bits and pieces with the entry level. So you've got three different levels. We'll talk about those when we get in the car, trim levels. Let's get under the bonnet. Let's have a look what you get as far as engines are concerned. Under the bonnet, the car comes equipped with a 1 litre 3-cylinder EcoBoost engine, and it's only available in a petrol engine at the moment, even though this is a mild hybrid. I'll explain that in just a second. Two variants, you've got 124 horsepower or you've got 153 brake horsepower. So the choice is yours at the end of the day. It's got a little bit more grunt on the 150. Ford tell me they are bringing out possibly a much sportier version of this. It's a 1.5 litre engine that they're developing. It's going to produce just shy of 200 brake horsepower. Personally, I think the latter more than adequate for a little car like this. Okay, so let's talk about mild hybrid. So the idea of a mild hybrid is this has a little battery that is part of its sort of power system. So when you actually put your foot, or you're slowing down, you put your foot on the clutch or you brake, the engine cuts out. And then instead of everything firing back up like it normally does on some of these sort of, you know, those engines where you pause the engine, it turns off and then restarts itself. The actual electric part of this engine restarts the engine, so you get this really lovely sort of slow movement, and then the petrol engine picks up as you start to move. It's a brilliant idea, but what does it do to the economy? Well, that we're only going to find out when we get it out on the road. So we'll look into that later on. Let's check out up front in the Ford Puma. Well, you're probably instantly recognise this. It's very Fiesta familiar. That's what we'll call it, Fiesta familiar. It's a keyless start. You've got a push button on the top there. I'm not going to start it now because it makes loads of noise and tells me I've left doors open and stuff. Very safety conscious, this car. Get a good place to put your key down there in the middle. This is the 6-speed manual. Talk about the different options on that when we get out on the road. Get a nice, decent sized glove box. You can keep all your safety equipment in there. However, we still keep getting these large sort of manuals that, do we really need these nowadays? Surely they could leave them out and just point you in the direction of a website or two. Be a lot easier than carrying that around with you and give you more space to put bits and pieces. Speaking of bits and pieces, well, down here, what you do get, even on the titanium, which is this trim level, the entry level trim level, you get wireless charging for your Apple device, which is rather nice. I like that. You also get Android mirroring, and you get Apple Play, obviously. You get a couple of nice drink holders in the middle and an energy drink holder between the two drink holders. Had to say that. I love this. Look, you get a proper, listen to that, good old school handbrake. Now, that I really love because it's just Ford, isn't it? It's just proper. They haven't done away with it. I hate electronic handbrakes. I don't know about you guys. I hate them. I like being in control, and that to me is being in control. Not impressed with that. Look at the size of this. It's ridiculous. You get, well, just about get my hand in there. There is a USB-C in there down the bottom there. I can just about see it. It's just glowing blue in there. That's your key change. I like bit of change in there. You know when you're trying to fiddle in your pockets, this is a brilliant idea. So it sits in there, you just pop it out like that, tip the change in hand, you're going out to the car park or wherever you've got to put money in, and there's your change. And when you get out of the car in the evening, you can take it in with you as well. I think it's fantastic. Great little idea, that. Couple of other bits and pieces. Well, you've got the Sync 3 infotainment system, Ford Sync 3. It's okay. It's not the best in the world, but you go into home, you've got your nav system built in with this. Even on the entry level, you get all this as well. You can connect your phone. Like I said, we've got the decent sound system in there as well. And also, on the very top of the range, you do get a Bang & Olufsen sound system, which is incredible. Now, you know my favourite bit. Let's talk knobs, guys. Come on. We all know you've got to have a decent knob, especially when you get in a car with your winter gloves on. Look at the size of these knobs. They are fantastic. You don't have to take your gloves off because you really don't want to be touching these knobs with, you know, when it's freezing cold. You've got to be able to adjust that temperature with your gloves on. And likewise, you know, you got your tunes on there. Nice big knob. It's so easy. And tuning it in, and oh, I love it. Yeah, can't beat a decent knob. There you go. We're going to talk about the steering wheel and the cruise control and all the safety bits when we're actually out on the road. One thing, on the titanium, the entry level, you don't get a digital dashboard. You do on the next two levels up. It's sad, really, because I think it would have been nice, because it is, again, it's almost forcing you to spend another few £1,000s just to get a digital display. To be honest, the display on this car is more than adequate. I think it's fine. I like sitting in this car. It's got a few bits and pieces, quirky bits and pieces. Lights are down here on the right, very easy, just set them on. And it's got that lovely, I did want to mention that, it's got the auto high beam assist. So when you're going along, if you've got your full beam on, it senses there's a car coming the other way and it automatically dips it. It's really cool, that. I love it. Let's jump in the back, see what it's like for the passengers. Okay, getting in and out the back is quite tight, I must admit. I thought it was going to be a lot bigger than this. So I've left that front seat in my normal driving position and there's not a lot of leg room there. I do feel that this is quite small compared to some of the other cars that we've tested recently. You get the little headrest there. There's no sort of centre armrest here. There's no USBs, there's no independent heating controls. Transmission tunnel's not that high, but you've got to remember we are reviewing the titanium here, so bear that in mind. It is the basic of all basics. You do get your obligatory ISOFIX points, and to be honest, it's not that bad. I think you're going to struggle if you watch. I'm going to try and get in the middle. I think we are definitely going to struggle to get 3 people across here. It's going to be really tight. So I would say this is more for kids in the back here. But there again, I think that's all what the Ford Puma has been designed for. It's got quite a low ceiling here as well. And you'll see where it curves round. It's right almost on my forehead here. And there's not a great deal of visibility in the back. The only saving grace is you do get a large window, so that will stop kids from feeling sick in the back here, and that is tinted, so it will keep it slightly cooler. Let's go and have a look round in the boot because things get a lot better round there. Round at the back, the good looks continue. I think it's a really sort of chunky little car, and I love these new LED lights. They almost split here through the actual the rear boot lid. That's what we call it here in the UK, the trunk lid. You get this spoiler across the top here. You've got a stop brake light built into it there, which is nice. Quite a large tinted rear screen here, which is good, and a wash wipe as well. Get the name plastered right across the middle, which is great. And yeah, just generally it looks really nice. It's not trying to be something that it isn't. It's basically sticking to its ethos of exactly what it was intended to be. That all makes sense. Let's have a look inside. It's not electronically assisted, but again, you know, it was never intended to be a top of the range car. It's just got the basics in it, but it's very light, some really decent gas struts on here as well. One other thing, which you know, normally I hate these things. These are called parcel shelves, and I normally pull these out and throw them away because there's nowhere to put them. This one, look, it just handily pops in there, so you can actually pop it in and pop it out. And it's actually made of a decent material as well. Look how nice and easy that is. So it gets out of the way. It's great. This is where it starts to get really, really good. In its guise at the moment, that's 400 litres. So first of all, let me pop these seats down, because when you do this, even from here, look at that, ready? And I'll put this one down as well. Now look at that, almost flat. That is huge. That's nearly 1,200 litres of boot space. That's incredible. Now, this is where it starts to excel. And I brought something with me because I wanted to bring a house plant with me, but my other half wouldn't let me bring one of our house plants because she didn't want it damaged. So this pops up like that and sits up there. Now, what you can't see, and you will do in a second by the magic of a bit of B-roll, there is a massive hole in here, a huge hole. I'm going to bring in a prop because I want you to see how big this is. This is a standard road cone, okay? Watch this, ready? Why didn't we test this first? Okay, it will go in that way. There, okay? We should have tested this first. Unfortunately, that's not going to go down, and I don't think I'll be able to shut the window either. Oh, yeah, wow. Hang on a minute. Actually got a road cone in there standing up. That's mad. Oh, God, look, it's all coming to pieces now. It's all going Pete Tong, as we say. Well, look, I did manage to get that road cone in there. It is quite high. I think if you got rid of this and you push that back a little bit. But basically what I'm trying to say, let's get rid of that stupid bloody thing. I don't even know where we found that from. My idea was to put a pot plant in here. Because what I've realised is, when you get one of these cars, it's going to be perfect. If you're over 55, 60, picking the grandchildren up, take them to the garden centre, they fit in the back, it's lovely. You're a granddad, you've still got all your tech, you've got a good looking car, but then you keep Granny happy because you can get a couple of rhododendrons in it. You can get a couple of large hydrangeas in there. It's perfect. And it doesn't stop there. You get a 12-volt adapter in the back here, as standard. A lot of the other cars I've mentioned don't have that. You get shopping bag holder as well on here. So Grandma can hang her shopping on there. A split level boot as well, which is brilliant. Look at that. It actually pops down even further. So you get more money and more space for your money. It's brilliant. I really love this. It's so quirky. That actually pops up there and stays up there if you do it properly, like that. There you go. And then, finally, the final thing which I've got to tell you about. This is the world's first car with a plug. Now, if you're from abroad and you don't know what a plug is, I'm not talking about a plug you plug in the wall. A plug, like in the sink or in the bath. This has one, because underneath here, down the bottom, you can pull this up, and it's full of bits of cone now. And here's the plug. There is an actual plug in here, which I'm going to pull. Well, I'm not going to take it out because the whole idea, Ford said, you can hose this out. So if you've got a disgusting dirty dog that's been in here, and you've had it in its tray in here, and it's been sitting there, and you can just get your hose, wash the car, and then wash the boot out, and then undo the plug, and it all drains out underneath. Genius, absolute genius. Apart from, one of the crew just told me 10 minutes ago that Bob Thornton from Newcastle actually invented this for his Suzuki Vitara about 30 years ago because he was a fishmonger. There you go. Maybe Bob Thornton's cause in life was lost. And maybe Ford actually bumped into him on a lonely night somewhere and came up with the idea. Who knows? Guys, we need to get this car out on the road. We need to see what it drives like. Let's go do it. Okay guys, there you have it. Now all we need to do is get it out on the road. So with no further ado, let's get this car started and give you the road test. So here we are guys, out on the road in the Ford Puma, and the very first thing you're going to notice is the sound of that little engine. That little 3-cylinder 1-litre engine is making a real growl. I was really shocked, I couldn't believe it. Not that it's doing over performance or, you know, it's giving any massive sort of, you know, flying down the roads or anything. It's about 9.8 0 to 62, and that's on the 150 odd brake horsepower model, not this one. This is the lowest of the low. But it still sounds funky and fun. It's you know, it's a good little car, love it. So you get a number of safety aids with this car. You get blind spot mirrors, you get autonomous braking in town. You also get some fantastic rear view cameras for when you're parking. And little bits like that all come as standard with the Ford Puma. Whereas on other particular, we're not going to say any particular mates, but other cars, you know, they don't. You have to pay extra. You have to move up quite a way in the model, in the trim level, to actually get those bits and pieces, which I think are pretty much should be standard on all cars these days. On this particular entry model, you don't get the digital display. However, it's good enough, and you can manipulate the display that's on here, and I'm sure with the digital one as well, using the buttons on the right-hand side of the steering wheel there. So you can just scroll up and down, you can go left and right, and you've also got the voice recognition system on here, and you've got the telephone module on here as well, and it comes with all of that. You know, it's pretty good. On the left-hand side here, well, as I said earlier, we would talk about this when we were out on the road, you do get cruise control as standard, and you get distance control as well, and there's a lane departure as well. This is all pretty good. It's ram-packed full of stuff, you know, that you wouldn't normally get on a basic model, which I think is really good. Ford have sort of thought about this and thought, right, the competition's got this, we need to do this, and they've actually gone and done it for a change, which I'm happy to say is great. Another good thing for us is the economy on this car. Now, even on the urban at the moment, I'm getting 43.6 miles to the gallon. And to be honest, I haven't had it out on the road on a run. I'm sure if I had this on a run, you know, at 70 mile an hour sitting in the cruise control, I'd be well over 50 to the gallon. And that in itself is pretty amazing for such a tiny little engine, because it's not always the size of the engine that creates the economy. We found that out with a lot of cars when we've been driving 2-litre cars, for example. We're getting better economy than some of the smaller sort of 1.5 or 1.6 engines. But I'm happy to say this one is definitely performing at the top end of economy. The car comes with a 60,000 mile or 3-year warranty. Again, compared to the competition, that's pretty good. It's, you know, a couple of that I do know, there's 30,000 miles more in that warranty. Servicing is around, you know, 200 to 225 pounds per service. That's on a full service. Again, that's not bad for a Ford. And you're getting this decent ride quality. You get a great view in this car as well. Because of that ride height is a lot higher. You're 30 centimetres up on the Fiesta. You're getting a good sort of sitting up, you know, looking over the top. You can see right down the bonnet. It's great. I really love it. The only thing I don't love, and I've got to say this, are the seats on this entry-level model. I would really like to move up a couple of models, and, well, even one model up would get me the better seats. And I think that would make quite a bit of difference. So, yeah, definitely worthwhile investigating in that. You might find them, you know, they're more than comfortable. Just to finalise up, well, basically, you've been watching me, AJ the Player. I hope you've enjoyed this review of the Ford Puma. We do many reviews on our AJ the Player YouTube, so if you're interested in any other cars, then please take a look at the channel. It's well worth it. You never know what's on there, whatever you're interested in. Or if you've got any suggestions, cars you'd like us to review, then in the comment box down the bottom. And that leaves me to say, don't forget to like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you would like to see more of what we do, and, you know, leave those comments down the bottom there. Just to also mention, we are part of a much bigger group. We are part of The Player, and The Player is a bookazine. And you're probably going, what is a bookazine? Well, a bookazine is a hardback magazine that comes out, you know, on a fairly frequent basis, and that's what we produce. However, what I'm going to offer you guys for free is the online version of that. And if you want to go to www.theplayer, it's just coming up here now, theplayer.co.uk, follow that there. Just put in an email. I'm sure you've all got an email, and you'll get a free copy of nearly 200 pages of what us guys really love. Cars, boats, you know, golf, wine, whatever you're into, we cover it in the player, trust me. So it's well worth a look, and you know where to go now. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next week, hopefully with another car. It could be an interview, it could be owners and their classics, who knows. Check back, leave that bell sign unchecked so you get a notification. Safe driving, guys. Take it easy out there.